I think there's such a huge disconnect between the consumer and the workers who bring us our food, which has become increasingly more normalized since the start of the pandemic. I'm Gada. I am a labor reporter at the Toronto Star, and I spent the last 6 weeks delivering Uber Eats. Our goal was to find out more about how the app works and the conditions under which a lot of the delivery workers, the conditions under which they work. It's so cold. LOL. I wore sunscreen today. The app, just unlocking my bike, gave me the wrong navigation. So I now have to figure out where I'm going. Consumers have embraced the speed, the convenience, the variety of food delivery, but this industry ultimately relies heavily on newcomers, many of whom face extremely difficult financial conditions and uncertain status in the country. It was much harder work than I thought it was going to be.
No trips, no deliveries, no orders. I am not getting any orders.
I got 0 deliveries. I have had 0 deliveries. I haven't gotten any deliveries. I've been on since about 5:35-ish, and it is almost 7, so yeah, it's just hard to predict this app. I think it's the most frustrating part.
I thought that, I could hang out in one of these hotspots that is indicated on the app, and I could go and, just hang out there and I'd get orders. And that very quickly became obvious that that was not going to be the case. I was very confused the first week about why I wasn't getting orders.
So sometimes it'll tell you to go to a hotspot and then it'll change it completely once you get there.
Yesterday, I followed the hotspot and I was there for an hour and a half and I got 0 deliveries. So this hotspot system is a bit interesting.
I wasn't getting orders, and even to the point where I called the company.
It is September 18th. I am not getting any orders. I'm doing a night shift. Last night I also got no orders. I called Uber Eats and they said there didn't seem to be anything wrong with the app. So hoping maybe, I'm told Tuesdays are quite dead, so maybe tonight we'll get some orders.
As the weeks went on, we changed our strategy and we decided that we would pinpoint only the peak hours. So I worked from 11:30 to 3:30, and then I think I went back out again from 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. onwards. So I would work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday when a lot of people would order, and that did make getting orders easier.
Hello, it is Friday, September 20th. Fridays are considered peak days for deliveries. So hoping to get a bunch today and doing just got a delivery actually. Be right back. Okay, just picked up an order from Duff's. Got a second delivery, got some jerk chicken, 11 p.m. Friday night. It's getting dark and it's kind of hard to see the number of the houses. Also, people don't like chit chat when you drop off their food. As I get more orders, rather than just getting a straight up accept order, I get a request to match to orders. And what that does is you hit match, and then the app says it's processing whether you're the right or the closest person or the right person, I can't remember the exact wording, to do the order. So I spoke to other drivers and they said that you have to just keep driving towards the location to be considered the best person for the job. So you kind of have to rush to the place.
If you have no experience with the app, if you have no experience doing delivery work, you don't think that there's a strategy necessary.
This sort of order scarcity kind of creates this feeling that you have to chase orders to maintain a sense of control.
A lot of the drivers I ended up interacting with and speaking with while I was doing this work all had kind of their own superstitions about why or how to get orders, which I think was also really interesting, and it just kind of shows you how the app gamifies work.
They'll often say like you have to restart, refresh, keep refreshing your app, keep moving in order to get more orders. Some will say stay put in order to get more orders. Some will say go to a specific location where there's no drivers and don't pay attention to the hotspots in order to get orders. But then some will say go to the hotspots in order to get orders. It's this constant guessing game of like how am I gonna get more orders. So it's a very interesting psychological experiment, I think.
I cannot stress this enough. You have to work to get your orders, and I found that shocking. It's very rare to get orders when you're standing in one spot. You have to keep moving, so I often just go to a neighborhood and I'll just do loops around until I get an order.
I'm in the middle of the road biking and I get a notification that I'm going to get an order. And if you don't accept fast enough, the order goes away. So I had to fight the urge to not stop in the middle of traffic to accept the order. And the app knows when you're on the move, right?
Conditions are very dangerous, and it's just really hard to work on the app and not be completely distracted.
You're constantly checking your phone that you're going in the right direction, that you're picking up the delivery, that you're reading the instructions that the customer has left for the delivery, that you're checking the address to make sure that you're at the right one, that you've got the right number, that you're verifying the order, that you're taking a photo of the order. It really is so dangerous for workers. I cannot stress that enough. And there's no way around it. You have to look at your phone. So anyway, that's Thursday. Gonna try and get a couple more, I think.
These drivers get paid very, very little for a lot of work.
So the whole trip took almost 20 minutes, even though the restaurant is about 3 minutes away. So that is probably including the time it took me to go all the way up and then come back down and also wait for the food to be done. That is not accounted for. The total I got is $4.06. The tip is still processing. So this just means that the customer can decide whether they want to tip me or change the tip or get rid of the tip that they had originally given me within an hour.
It's difficult to say on average how much a courier gets paid because it can vary so much and the pay structure is so opaque.
I've noticed that on the trips where there are 2 in a row, the app will bundle the trip into one, and I won't actually know how much each person tipped me.
Uber, on the other hand, says it's upfront with drivers on the fare, as well as estimated time and the distance of each trip. And they say drivers actually choose Uber Eats because of the flexibility it gives them, that they can control when and where they work. I definitely did not feel in control. At one point, I remember I got a massive order of pho, and I remember thinking in that moment, this flimsy paper bag that they put this massive order in, it's not gonna hold the order.
It is so heavy, it's so heavy, and I have an 18-minute trek. Man.
And when I got to the guy's apartment, he said, the instruction was like, leave it at the door. And I opened my courier bag, and I lift the paper bag and I just see the entire bottom fall out. So I ended up having to knock on the door, and he was really kind about it. He said, no worries, and he gave me some paper towels and it was all fine.
The guy whose food was spilled in my bag seemed really nice.
Predominantly people who end up using this app are newcomers, and maybe they're English, or there might be some language barriers. How do you explain that to someone? I was lucky in that I could.
It wasn't my fault, it was the package's fault. But I wonder if the worker is the one who has to suffer for it. So we'll see. I'm done for the evening. I'm very tired, but very happy that I got all the orders. So
it is sometimes very hard. Like if it's a massive condo building or a massive office and you have no idea, sometimes I'd spend like 10 minutes wandering the floor being like, where is the door I'm supposed to be dropping this off at?
Once again, I am lost in an apartment building. Lost in an apartment building. The office is a maze. I'm still walking. I'm trying to find my way out. Can't find the apartment door. Yet another maze. Where am I going? I don't know. I am looking. Nope, I think it's the wrong way. It's the wrong way. Where am I going? What is this place?
My experiences biking in the rain and having to deliver in the rain were, as you can expect, just awful. And yeah, if you want orders, that's often actually when you get the most orders, is when it's raining, but it is grueling, it's horrible.
Rain is brutal. It's cold. My hands are cold. Okay, so I've been instructed to leave the food at the lobby, but I can't get to the lobby because there's no concierge. There's no concierge.
I got stuck in an elevator for nearly half an hour.
I was about to deliver the first delivery of the 2 today, and yeah, I had to contact the concierge and I had to push the emergency button on the elevator, and then now I'm waiting for the fire department to come and get me out. I don't know what the time limit is on these deliveries. I'm at an apartment building in Liberty Village, and all the elevators are broken, so we have to stop at every single floor.
Yeah, so I think in the end, all of these experiences just really showed how difficult it is to be a delivery worker. Most people who occupy these jobs are newcomers, they're immigrants, they're young international students. A lot of the guys I met were 19 years old and are here studying and just trying to make a living. You know, at the end of the day, I could go home and feel secure in that, you know, delivery work was not my primary income. I had a salary, and a lot of these drivers do not have secondary incomes or other means of making money. I think it's just important to understand how these systems work at the end of the day, because we all buy into it. You know, the consumer buys into it, the restaurant buys into it. The worker's livelihood is deeply impacted by it.
So I think what's really hard about this app is that you actually have no idea how you're getting the trips and why. So it keeps you constantly guessing. So I'm trying to kind of recreate a pattern that I think has worked, but is now not working. And I feel very frustrated by that. You know? So you're also, you know, they've gamified the app, but you're also trying to gamify, you're trying to outrun the app too. You're trying to outmaneuver it.
When we asked Uber Eats, they said my experience didn't represent the average delivery worker, who they say is engaged 4 times more on an hourly basis than I was. We see them every day. They're on our streets every day, delivering our food every day, and I think it's really important to understand that this is how our food gets delivered to us. I can tell you, it's the way that I experienced it just felt extremely unsustainable. I don't know how anybody is able to make a living from these apps, and yeah, it's just very, very hard work. I mean, it's just hard for me to kind of order now, knowing how it works. But the couple times that I have ordered since starting this investigation, I tip a lot. I make sure, you know what, if today is a day that you can't make your own food or you can't walk to get your own food, you're gonna tip this person really, really well.